I'd like to welcome our first special guest to the show, Mr. Russell Shaw, who's the founder of Tech London Advocates. Now, Tech London Advocates is a non-for-profit community of individuals with aspirations to build and promote London into a world-leading digital and technological city. Welcome to the show, Russ.
Thank you, Robert. Great to be here.
So, for those that don't know Tech London Advocates, can you tell us a little bit more about what it is and how it came about?
Sure. Well, at its core, TLA, as we call it, is a network. It's entrepreneurs, it's founders, it's investors, it's big corporates, big banks, teachers, students. Anybody who touches or gets involved with the broad tech ecosystem is invited to be in TLA. I ask advocates to do three things. One, be consistent in your messaging and to use TLA as a source of information. Two, when ready, introduce a new advocate to the group. It's free and it's open to anyone, but advocates Skype, so the network effects are playing through there. And then third is adopt the ethos. We're here to help one another for the greater good, and in this instance, it's about supporting London's tech community.
Fantastic. So I've recently become an advocate, and,
Yes.
and I found really, really useful. Thank you. But can you tell our audience exactly what they do, what an advocate actually does?
Well, effectively, the three things that I've just described is what I ask every advocate to do, and it's designed for very busy people. So you don't have to do any more than that.
Okay.
Just be in the community and be there. However, many advocates, I'd say about 2/3, get involved in working groups, and we now have close to 25 working groups.
Wow.
And these are groups that are focused on areas like education, immigration, infrastructure, property. We've got the tech verticals represented, like creative tech, fintech, retail tech, cyber, games. They're all groups focused on that. And then third, we have geographic groups. So we now have TLA India, TLA China, TLA Africa, soon TLA Middle East, and TLA Latin America. So it's wherever like-minded advocates can come together to do things.
So I was going to ask, you got London in the name, but now you're going to be global, so how are you going to name these other groups then?
Well, we have the working groups with the geographic names, and we have now set up what I would describe as two sister organizations. So Tech Nordic Advocates to cover Scandinavia and the Baltics, and Tech North Advocates is launching next month to cover the north of England. And what I do is I effectively license the brand to groups or to advocates who want to set up these organizations that have similar principles. So I will look at other parts of the world. We're talking about setting up something in the Midlands. I've got a woman in the San Francisco Bay Area who wants to set up something there. So watch this space.
So I could set something up in the Caribbean then, perhaps?
Well, you'll be our first advocate in the Caribbean, which is great, and maybe it's Tech Caribbean Advocates.
There we go.
That sounds very exotic, doesn't it?
And then how do you plan to turn London into the home of tech?
Well, I think, I like to say to the group that we're on a journey here. This is not going to happen overnight. The tech sector here really started to gain traction about 4 or 5 years ago. And from my point of view, it's about doing two things. One is promoting what's going on here, the successful startups, the successful scale-ups, giving airtime to the great founders and entrepreneurs, and showing that you can not only start a business here, but you can see it through to a successful exit. And we've had some high-profile IPOs here over the past 12 to 24 months. So that's one aspect of it. And then the second is, how do we deal with the issues and challenges that we face? I've been in New York, I've been in Bangalore, I've been to Berlin, I was in Beijing recently, and every tech city that's out there has a lot of issues to deal with, and London's not alone. So how can we get ahead of the curve and deal with issues here? We have a talent issue. We don't have enough talent to support our thriving tech community. We have infrastructure issues. We have diversity and tech issues. How do we get this community of leaders to get behind those issues and address them? Again, they're not going to be fixed overnight, but if we all come together, we'll solve them.
Sounds good. And so we've, like I say, I've recently become an advocate myself, and I've found the platform that you use when you log in and to connect with other people, very, very slick little platform. Can you tell us more about how that works and how people can take advantage of that?
Sure. That is set up by a company called Profinder, and they're a startup. And early on in the life of TLA, we sat down because I said, I need to have a collaborative database where advocates can connect with each other, so that I am not the hub to, well, currently today 2,800 spokes, but where advocates using a sophisticated algorithm can reach out to other advocates to say, I need help with this, or I'm looking for somebody here, I'm looking to raise some funding. And the ProFinder platform is one of the ways in which you can do that. We do events, you know, we use LinkedIn, we use Twitter, but ProFinder is a lovely platform that I get a lot of good feedback on.
Speaking of events, you did a fantastic event the other day called Debate Tech.
Thank you.
Tell us more about how that came about and what the goal was for that.
Well, well, back in January, we worked with Tech UK, the Trade Association, and Centre for London, and developed a tech manifesto that we gave to the London mayoral candidates. And we said, we don't just want you to read the manifesto, we'd like you to come and talk about the recommendations and debate it with the other candidates. So on the 9th of February, they were all invited to a wonderful venue called Here East in Olympic Park. And you know, we had 700 advocates come to the event where they could hear the mayoral candidates respond not only to the recommendations, but talk to and challenge each other.
Okay, well, sadly, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming, Russ.